guys, welcome to another wonderful episode of Life Talk Pod with Bami. I want to thank each and every one of you that subscribe and engage with our content. We really appreciate each and every one of you, subscribing, sharing to your friends. Today, I have two wonderful guests with me. You'll get to meet them surely very soon, and they will introduce themselves. The topic we're looking at today is cultural appropriations, and I'm quite ecstatic because I think there are a lot of things we need to discuss that can be of benefit to everyone. So diversity, you're not the first timer here, so please introduce yourself then.
As you said, I'm not a first timer. My name is Diversity, only one of the baddest DJs in Nigeria right now. In fact, one of the baddest DJs globally, but I mean, let's not toot our own horn. Yeah, but I'm a DJ and I also dabble in IT. But yeah, nice to meet you guys once again.
Thank you.
Pleasure to be here.
Thank you so much. Lola.
Okay, I'm Lola and I am an educator.
Wow, educator. What do you teach?
What did you say?
What do you teach? I didn't know that. What do you teach?
Well, the nursery section. It's not a particular subject.
So A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, D.
That's that.
Wow. That's the foundation.
That's the craziest time. Oh, yeah.
It's good. It's good. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you guys taking the schedule to, honor me and come on the podcast today. I'm sure that, we'll be able to vibe very well. So today's topic, like I said once again, is cultural appropriation. I wanted to just, kind of define it for, our viewers and our listeners so that they can have a grasp of what we are talking about. So cultural appropriation is when elements of a culture, particularly a marginalized or minority culture, are taken or used by members of a more dominant group without permission, understanding, or respect for their significance. It often involves exploiting cultural symbols, clothing, language, or tradition for profit, entertainment, or fashion, while ignoring the history, meaning, or struggles associated with them. The dynamics of this topic in our globalized world today, cultures are constantly blending, influencing, and inspiring one another. But does admiration for a culture cross into the line of exploitation? When does celebrating a culture become taken from it without understanding, without respect, and often without permission? I want us to dive into real world examples today. Let us unpack, let us explore how history and power dynamics shape this conversation, and look at how we can, engage with cultures outside our own in ways that honor and uplift ourselves and not diminish. Because here's the thing: culture is not a costume; it's history, it's identity, and it's secret to the people who live it every day. Most especially, we that are Africans, we cherish our culture, and I'm sure we are very proud of that culture. So I just wanted to just, give a brief introduction onto what we are trying to discuss today. Lola, what happened?
Sorry, I think there's an obstruction. Yeah, sorry.
Please let not be obstruction. No. I don't like. Girl. So we want to dive into some. We want to just dive into some, questions. So let's say ladies first. Abi?
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're gentlemen over here, so.
So I wanted to just, let's start with the easy one. I wanted to know why you think this conversation we're having now, Lola, is more important now than ever before.
Okay, like you just rightly defined it. There's like the cultural appreciation is more like exploitation. And right now, since we live in a more globalized world, there's a lot of culture sharing, a lot of culture exchange. You see,
Yeah.
yeah,
Mm.
you see many celebrities, dress up as some other cultures, and you begin to wonder, what's this for? Is it for views? Is it for popularity? Is it for clout? Or they actually appreciate this culture? Are they doing it just for the popularity? Just to, okay, this is trending. Let me just, go along with it. So it is. We need to
Yeah.
discuss that, and then at this stage, um, like I said, it's global. It's a globalized world, and even as Nigerians, there are some of our cultures that are, you know, fading out. And if we're not careful, the ones coming up behind us would not even know that we
Mm.
existed. So there is the need
Yeah.
for us to discuss it right now because we need to come back to our roots. And yes, culture sharing is beautiful. It's good to like want to emulate older cultures. Like myself, I enjoy Indian and Korean movies and even their culture as a whole. And there's sometimes I want to like, okay, imitate them. Let me dress up like this, you know. But then one needs to be careful not to, overdo these things.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of ladies enjoy Korean movies. I think the only Korean movie I ever
Guy,
watched
guy.
in my life, and that was when in secondary school was Jumong. Oh God. I love that. I
I'm sure
love
she
that
has watched like 1,000 others.
one to 12.
Obviously.
Oh ah, God, I love Jumong. In fact, it was so like irritating to my friends because I was always talking about Jumong all the time. And it was like, what is guys? Well, I really
Yeah.
appreciate that answer. Thank you. Diversity. So, how would you personally define cultural appropriation versus cultural? Like, what's the difference between cultural appropriation and cultural appreciation? Is there like a difference between two of them? Is there, or are they similar in views?
Hmm. Okay. For me, right, it's just more of how you see it. There's something you really buttressed on while you were talking. You said culture is someone's identity, right? And I really resonated with that because, for example, us in Africa now, for example, we can, as Yoruba people, when you wake up, you greet your parents,
Mm,
Ekaro, good morning, all those kind of things. These are things that we're naturally inclined to do because we grew up doing it, right? It's not something we are forced to do. It's just something that was a way of life for us. Even how we dress, even how we look, everything from our hairstyles, as you can see now, I'm on cornrows, our hairstyles, our outfits, everything. These are our own identity, right? So, boiling it down to the appreciation versus appropriation, right? Appreciation is when you really, like these cultures or these habits and you just build on it. Like, oh, I like the way these people dress. Okay, I choose to just, familiarize with them.
mm,
Versus appropriation, where it's more like, oh, these people are black, these people, see the way they dress. Okay, we can use this, we can exploit them to generate something out of it, where there's like more of like an ulterior motive to
mm.
it rather than for the genuineness. I don't know if you get what I'm saying. So
Yeah,
for me, that's just the basic difference. Sometimes it might not necessarily be for just profit, right? Sometimes it might just be a thing of I just want to I just have an ulterior motive with
yeah.
regards to this thing. So I feel like that's just the slight difference. But I'm sure as we, delve into it more, we'll definitely like, bring
Mm.
out more talking
No,
points to it.
we are just setting the foundation now. I'm trying to just,
Exactly.
but like that's a quick one, because like we are all proud Africans here. I'm a proud African man. I
Mm,
I am grateful for my culture first and foremost. But what I wanted to just get your perspective or your insight or what you think about people. There's this common thing that is going on now that people will try to use one DNA thing to look at their ancestry, and they will say, "I'm 1%
haha,
Nigerian, 2%
Nigeria, yeah.
like that." And I just feel like, to me, it's just kind of, I don't want to say like on me. I don't know whether it's appropriate for you too, but I don't want to say it's kind of bullshit, you know, because yeah, I think people have abused that and tried to use it to, kind of gain some sympathy or gain some clout from the culture itself. I don't want to mention it,
Mm,
But I know that it's the
Okay.
celebrities that have, you know, said they are so and so. And,
Yeah.
I don't know whether it's true or it's not true, but all those ones, if I don't know whether I can trace their ancestry back to whatever they said they were. But I know that, yes,
Yeah.
a lot of it is just, kind of lies just to gain favor or, gain position, especially when it comes to politics. There are a lot of political figures, especially outside Africa, like,
Mm.
there's a prominent. I don't want to just go into this, but a prominent politician that claimed she or he, so that that they were from Indian heritage, and it was a lie. And they later found out that this person was lying, but the person is already in a position of power.
Mm.
Found out that, yes, this person used that claim to bolster uh influence in society, and without that
Mm.
claim, she wouldn't have been where she is today. So that's the kind of thing that we're talking about. Trying to gaslight the people that have come from that
Mm.
and trying to feel like maybe you can just come in and appropriate their culture from them rather than appreciate what they've been through, how far they've come, their lineage, their heritage, their history. It's they are two different things. So I don't want to move into understanding appropriation so that we would not you know delve away from what we were trying to discuss. Sorry, excuse me. Um, so I want us to know why is it harmful when elements of marginalized culture taking acknowledgement or understanding. I want to know why that is harmful because I don't know many people like I think if I think you've seen this thing on Instagram too. I think maybe if white ladies do braids, African Americans are always like angry that why are you doing braids? Braids is not like sometimes they just go off and off and off and off and off and they don't want them to take something that is identical with them. And I don't see the force of the whole matter. But I want to just know why it's harmful, where elements of this culture are taken without acknowledgement or understanding. Right? Like in diversity, you can just give us like a little bit of, you know, lead with.
Um. Okay, I'll just speak generally, and I'll try to make reference to certain things you said as well. Uh, I think it becomes harmful, if I'm being honest, when, like you said, maybe we don't get acknowledged for, or, the culture being exploited does not get the recognition it deserves, right? Or
Yeah,
the motive at which this culture is being exploited is not for good reasons, right? But at the same time, I don't think it is the idea of cultural appreciation, my term, is necessarily appropriation because sometimes, right, she's made reference to certain celebrities going back to their lineage that, okay, they're 5% African, blah, 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 blah. I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing, right? Sometimes it actually sheds more light into that culture that they are referring to. People can actually go back and want to study maybe the African culture, whether it's Nigerian, whether it's Angolan, Tanzanian,
yeah,
whatever the case may be. So sometimes it's not necessarily a bad thing, right? But like you said, when it becomes harmful when, for example, like people start to take advantage of it and they don't want to like give recognition to the original roots, right? Me and
mm,
you know we're talking earlier about the Sinners movie that just came out.
yeah,
And if you notice, even that movie actually paid some attention to like African roots,
yeah,
you know. I recently saw like an interview where the producer or the director, they were asking him that, okay, so why did you use twins? B. Jordan was a twin in that
yeah,
movie. And he referred it to his aunties or something that they were Yoruba, and then twins are from the Yoruba culture and all of that. So in that movie, twins were actually like represented well. I don't think that was an appropriation scenario, right? Because he actually said where he got the idea or the inspiration from, right? That would make people want to go and Google more, learn more about that culture. So sometimes it only becomes harmful when the recognition is not given. or the accolades are not given to the original culture, or when maybe you represent that culture in a bad light, because sometimes people represent certain cultures in a bad light. And
Yeah.
say, for example, maybe this culture, they worship animals, all this. It's not your business, it's their culture. Do you understand? It's not
Yeah.
for you to spoil that. But these are just my 2 cents. Maybe Lola can speak more about it from her
That,
own point of view.
thank you. Lola, you said
Yeah.
you can speak more, so what do you have to say?
Okay, I don't know what movie it is that he was just talking about. Maybe I didn't get the title.
That movie that just came out this morning.
Sinners, you need to watch it. Sinners,
Okay.
Michael B. Jordan.
Were any
Yeah.
Nigerians
Yeah.
involved in this particular movie?
Sorry,
Anyone?
come again?
Nigerians, were they involved?
But they what?
No, no, no.
Oh, they were.
She said were Nigerians involved in the movie.
No, no, not Nigerians. They're all African Americans. Like,
No, no, no.
Mm,
I think, yeah, they're not Nigerians per se. No,
yeah,
I'm not
they're
sure. I don't
Black
think so.
American.
But they were twins.
But like, they
They
all
were
have
twins in the movie.
in the movie. Yeah.
Okay, I think that's also a form of appropriation, because then you're speaking about a culture you know nothing about, and there aren't actual Nigerians in that movie.
But the movie was not about
It's
Nigerians. Maybe
It wasn't about
it was
Nigerians.
about
not, but
Nigerians. Don't.
I understand. But then this particular movie, it's about like a part of the Yoruba culture, right? And there are no
No,
people.
no. Like, it's not that maybe you don't understand what Diversity is saying. It's not a part of any Yoruba thing. But I think there was one time that lady was praying and she said a share or something. But it's not part of any Yoruba culture. It's just like a movie. It's just like a movie about vampires. Don't worry.
Oh,
Don't.
I just wanted to, I want to get that, because there are so many movies
No,
out there that they want to like, you know, they want to,
yeah,
yeah, you get.
yeah. Like,
And there was this particular
yeah.
one that Will Smith was in, acting as a Nigerian doctor. Why don't you involve actual Nigerians to do these things?
Uh,
But do you think, can I cut in here?
Please,
Do you think the issue is that, oh, they did not go back to get actual Nigerians to act a Nigerian part? Because that's not a problem for me. We have had scenarios where in a Nigerian movie, someone is mimicking like a UK accent. Oh, what's up, man? Blah, 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 man. Does
just
that mean we're appropriating their culture?
no, not necessarily. Not necessarily.
I
Exactly.
To
can understand
imitate,
what she's
yes.
saying.
Exactly.
I
To
can
imitate,
understand
yes.
what she's saying.
Go further.
Maybe in a line where you're actually talking about the African culture, the
Exactly.
storyline of the movie African culture, probably it is right for you to cast
Black
Africans
hands. Exactly. That's my point.
that understand the history of the culture you are trying to mimic.
Have you seen the movie Half of a Yellow Song?
No,
Yes.
I haven't.
One of the main actors was Chiwetel Ejiofor. Yes, he's
Yeah.
Nigerian, but he has more years abroad.
Yeah.
So are you saying what's the point of that?
I don't even
He's
know.
more inclined in the foreign markets than in the Nigerian market.
No, I'm
So
trying to
I feel like we shouldn't get this wrong. Sorry to say, but I
explain.
think we shouldn't get this wrong. I was not saying the Sinners movie was representing Yoruba culture or whatever,
And
right?
now,
I was saying that
mm,
And she
when he was asked, he made reference
yeah,
to his aunties. Hear
yeah.
me out, his aunties. So
That
he had experienced that culture to a certain level to be able to represent it in
mm,
that movie,
no,
right? It was not the idea of the movie, but
yeah.
we should just understand that there's a difference, there's a fine line between appreciation and
But
appropriation.
what
Do you
she
understand?
was saying, I'm sure. Let me try. Maybe But she didn't say that. But what she was trying to say is, let's say they are trying to act a movie about African culture. I don't know. I'm trying to think of a movie right now, but I can't think of one. But she said she mentioned something like Will Smith acted in one movie like that. And let's say you're trying to act as the Nigerian president now, and they want to cast somebody. Like what she said, maybe why would you cast someone in America as a Nigerian president when the president does not know anything about Nigerian politics? So maybe and that's a fair that's a fair argument to me, because if you want to, how will I put, if you want to, you know, appreciate a culture, I think it's best to learn everything that you need to about that culture, and the best person that can give you perfect depiction of that culture is somebody that grew up from that culture, or someone that came out from that culture. You understand? They might do their research. Obviously, they would surely do their research, because movie writers and
Very key. What you just said, research
movie writers,
is.
they will do their research. Obviously.
Mhm.
Just like this movie, this woman king that Viola Davis acted with
Exactly.
what's his name, the
Um, John Boyega. Yeah,
yeah, John Boyega and the other pastor of
yeah,
in Life Church. You understand? And
yeah.
that was a
Pastor Jimmy,
perfect
Jimmy Odukola. Yeah,
of what we are saying. But I think it's not that I have to give credit to Viola Davis for being a very, very wonderful actress. You understand? But what in that kind of case now, you understand? I'm sure Viola Davis killed that role. I won't
so
take
would
any.
you say she appropriated the culture?
That's what I'm trying to say. You understand? What she's trying to say, that maybe you should have casted somebody of that African descent, which is not a problem, and which is not a problem, but they
Yeah,
really, did justice to that movie, which is what I'm trying to say. So it's a fair argument, and it's also you can look at it from both sides of the coin. That's what I'm trying to say. Um,
yeah, yeah. Fair
yeah,
enough.
let's move on so that.
No,
Yeah.
I get what we're saying, Sha, but yeah, I just want us to not
And that's
digress.
the next
You
question.
understand?
Ask what are the common misconceptions people have about appropriation, and I'm sure I really trashed that now. I was about to ask what are the common misconceptions that people have about appropriation, but we already, you know, intertwined everything together. So we want to move into the next segment, the role of appreciation. So what does genuine cultural appreciation look like in practice, Lola? What does genuine cultural appreciation looks like? What does it look like in practice? Like, can you give us an example?
And we've spoken about this already. I think, like you said, it's intertwined. Um, you just need to like give credit to whatever culture it is. It may not be the African part or blacks. They just need to give. We just need to give credit to the culture we would want to be emulated.
Mm,
Yeah, and if
yeah.
possible, involve people from that culture.
You know, I, you won't believe that was my next question. How important is it to give credit and support to the
It's
original creator?
mhm.
And we already said it. We already said it in. I think most of what we talked about in the previous segment. And that's credit to you. You see, how I said that to you guys. I know that yes, you guys know what you're talking about. So, like, we really thought to be like about 5 of the questions I wanted to ask, and it's actually quite
Yeah,
okay.
but we could just you could just speak more. There's nothing
No,
wrong with
yeah,
talking more about it.
sorry. So diversity, and I like asking you controversial questions so that you can help me dissect. So, how do power dynamics and privilege factor into cultural appreciation? Into cultural appropriation, I mean, sorry, not appreciation.
Okay, because I was a bit, so how do power dynamics factor into cultural appropriation,
Yeah,
right?
power dynamics and privilege.
Um, and privilege. Okay. I mean, if you take it as far back as, for example, slave trade era, right? Um, the white people, they came, took the Africans, during the slave trade era, like I said.
Yeah,
Um, Obviously, they came to colonize us, right? Came to bring their culture on us, do everything on us, probably take some of our resources as well, as history would define it, right? This was because they obviously had more power in terms of political power, in terms of, resources, knowledge, all of that, right? But eventually, because they were probably more knowledgeable, they had more power and all of that, they were able to ride on the
sorry.
African.
Hold on, no, please. Will you say they were more knowledgeable? Because according to our forefathers,
Okay.
they had knowledge of what our culture is. You can't say they were. You can't. I don't know. I don't know whether you can say they were more knowledgeable, because our forefathers were knowledgeable in African culture. They knew. everything about the elders actually. If you look at,
Okay.
if you read some folk tales or folklores, you see that the elders gathered the children in the town square to teach them about the culture, about the integrities of where and how they came to be. So you can't say they were not knowledgeable. They were knowledgeable people. It's just maybe they were not westernized. Let me put it like that. According to the people that came to
So
colonize them.
my question will be, why was there need for westernization in the first place? And how much of this cultural, knowledge was passed down up to our own era? Because literally, for you to allow someone else to come into your land and come and colonize you,
Mm,
it almost feels like you were not strong in your own identity in the first place.
you
Just
know,
my opinion.
are taking other powers. It has to do with military force and weapons. I'm not sure our forefathers had guns or knew how to use guns, but let's say maybe they were hunting with spears and those ones came with guns. You can't fight those kind of things. I'm just trying to depict a scenario. You can't fight those kind of.
Yeah,
But uh, that what I'm saying, like imposing your, because the British kingdom then was the most powerful kingdom in the world because it colonized a lot of people. In fact,
like you said, power.
yes,
I'm listening.
in fact, for the United States to break away, the present United States to break away from their control, they had to go through what they call the Great War,
Mm,
where the United States had to practically defeat the king then, and create a path for their own destiny. That's what I'm trying to say. Like colonization is not something that maybe it's like a choice. It was imposed by force. You understand? And it was
but
and it,
there were also countries that refused to be colonized.
like which and there are countries that refuse to colonize. Obviously, I won't. Yes, yes, but it depends on the will of the people to fight at that time. Maybe and maybe the elders then just feel that okay, you don't need to kill anyone or young ones, or
Yeah,
and let's just come to a consensus, and maybe that's what happened. I'm not sure, but I'm still going to
yeah.
put back that up. But I
I think Lola has something to say.
I know I don't want that point of more knowledgeable than us is what I had an issue with.
Yeah.
I don't want to
Fair point.
I don't want to say they were more knowledgeable than us, because in our culture we were knowledgeable. The Igbos, the Benin Kingdom, they were one of the most powerful kingdoms. They were more knowledgeable. They knew the intricacies of power, of justice, of everything. And all people were treated equal according to our people. All people were treated equal. Like you hear these stories that you live one, like people that go to farm and want to sell their produce, and they live by the side of the road, and people pay money and leave the money there, and things you know
Yeah.
were just, and everybody was treated equally according to people that lived during that time. Lola, what do you want to
Mm.
say?
No,
So what I'm saying, they were knowledgeable
I
in
also
their own right,
not agree
but
with that. Them being
West,
knowledgeable than we were or they were then. But I just think there was a bit of greed too that led to the British taking over and all of those things. There was a
yeah,
greed on our
maybe.
side, on the blacks. So it's not entirely
Mm,
them them being knowledgeable. Aside, yes, they had power, but then we gave it to them. We allowed it because them
mm,
weren't contented. And I heard of stories. I think it was a movie too, where blacks were selling blacks. They were selling themselves out for slaves, for slave trade.
yeah.
So we gave them that power, and they still wield that power till today.
Do you think maybe, and this is just a question, do you think maybe if they did not know that, okay, these people, they are not as strong, maybe in their decision making or whatever situation, they would come to us to colonize us? Do you think they would do that?
I didn't get.
No,
Don't you think they had prior, like, okay,
sure.
knowledge of if we impose our power on these people, they will bulge?
No,
Just Just a
No, they
question.
keep
This is
so many.
this is
We have resources we could use to exploit them.
what
Just like,
Exactly. And
the
just
thing about is expanding influence. That's the thing about colonization. Expanding your influence over another set of people, trying to make them be subdued under your authority, and trying to, so like when the British colonized us, the official language was, English. Nigeria has like over 300 languages that people speak. You understand what I'm saying? Up to now, some people still don't speak English in Nigeria because they don't understand it.
mm,
So the influence is what I'm talking about. In other countries like Cote d'Ivoire, the Francophone speaking countries in Africa, the French colonized them, and up to date they're still speaking French because, as I say, it's the basic reason for colonization is to expand influence. That's what I'm trying to say. But the fact
but
that
it boils down to the power. That's why I'm trying. That's the point I'm trying to bring
what
out of this. That it
the
boils down
fact,
to that power that we spoke about.
no,
yeah.
you asked me.
But what I'm
No,
saying is that the fact,
sir.
okay, okay, Lola,
I mean diversity. You asked me.
I love this conversation because you said it's controversial. So please
yeah,
carry
yeah.
on.
But what me I have, what problem I have, what the problem I have with what everything you guys are saying is the knowledgeable part of that, of your take. I don't
I
want to.
want to hear Lola.
No, you asked.
I
I
want
don't.
to hear
Diversity
Lola. I
asked
get
me
what
a
you're
question.
saying, but I want to hear Lola.
Like,
Okay, Lola, talk.
so please
He wants
forgive
to
me.
hear
I didn't
you.
get that question really. I want to.
Or the problem is,
Ask the question again.
how do power dynamics and privilege factor into cultural appropriation?
No, I mean diversity itself. You asked me a question.
Okay.
Yeah,
With regards,
yeah, you did.
no, I said I wanted to hear you speak.
Oh.
There was a particular question you asked that Irebami took over. You were asking if they had like a previous intel that these people would bulge. Was it?
Okay, yeah, you could put it like that.
Okay.
Hmm.
I also think that unity has been our problem from day one. They came bearing good news, telling us so that this would happen if we go along with them. They used the missionaries' Christianity because we were gullible. We believed it. Yes, we were knowledgeable, but then this thing was new to us. We did not have any idea of it. And the higher ups then they saw it as something that, oh, if they could work with these people, there will be some kind of gain or profit to
Mm.
the end. So that's why
Uh,
I said greed and unity has always been our problem. So us being knowledgeable, yes, but you see, when greed comes in, whatever sense you have, it goes out of the window because then you're looking
mm.
at, oh, the profits, the gains, what is in it for me. So that's that, majorly.
Okay. So I think I don't want us to waste too much time on that particular, question, which you guys have, really, really giving a lot of different opinions on, and I appreciate it. So I wanted to just know, for I think I want to be done with um this other segment. We were trying to understand what appropriation means. So I wanted to know the common misconceptions people have about appropriation, and Lola. I wanted to know what common misconceptions do people have about appropriation. If
Appropriation.
yeah, appropriation.
The misconceptions they have. Okay. So, like we've discussed this, and we tend to exploit. That's majorly what appropriation is all about. And
Mm,
in exploiting, when we don't give credit, and now the misconception there or misinterpretation is we think, oh, we're giving visibility to this culture, and that's not what is happening because then you're misinterpreting these people's culture because you fully do not know what it is. It's just like myself. Like I said, I enjoy the Indian culture, the Korean culture. Imagine me going out and putting on the saris and everything. And from what I read or from what I know, there are certain numbers of bangles that are on a lady's hand as an Indian, and then I wouldn't know what
Mm,
it means. Just, oh, so far there is bangles on my hand, I represent the Indian culture. Those are misconception. Even the red dot you see on the edge, there's a reason for it. Yeah. But then
Yeah.
just go about
Mm-hmm.
just taking on their fashion, taking on their music too. The same thing happens with, we see a lot of musicians, celebrities using Afrobeats without giving credit. And
mm,
they feel, oh,
that is,
we're giving these people visibility, we're making it go viral, we're making them known. But no, you need to like give these people their kudos. Like, okay, this is where it's from, and this is why we're using it. You know, and I think if credits are being given and people from these cultures are being involved, then the misinterpretation would be, at least it would be lesser. It won't be as it is.
thank you. Diversity, you have anything to add there before we move to the next segment?
Um, I think I just want to say something. I feel like sometimes maybe, and I love the points she raised. And I think with the Indian culture set, I think the dotted something means the person is married or something. I don't know. I can't really pinpoint it. I know I watched some Indian movies growing up. So, but yeah, see, for example, now maybe you have a work day and everybody is told to dress a certain way
Yeah,
and you wear the sari, you wear the bangles, what are you representing? The Indian culture, right?
yeah,
Right? And if they ask you, oh, what are you wearing? Oh, I'm wearing the Indian culture, winter attire, blah, 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 blah. You're like, oh, wow, amazing, right? You are appreciating that culture,
yeah,
right? Now, I want one of the misconceptions people get, and I feel like, especially us in Africa, is we feel like when maybe the foreign people try to represent our culture, it is appropriation. I don't think everything is appropriation. I think sometimes they are actually appreciating our culture.
yeah,
A white guy could
yeah.
actually like Yoruba woman now and
Like,
want to marry her. Is
mm,
there a problem with that? A white man might have a Nigerian friend and they are listening to Charlie Poppy's Lahore and he's doing the challenge. Is there a problem with that? There's no problem with that. I think a misconception we should understand is not everything is appropriation. Sometimes it's just appreciation and it might
mm,
not be represented as well, but we need to also cut them some slack
yeah.
to be honest. So,
And my next question was like, what does genuine cultural appreciation look like in practice? That's my next question actually. And I'll go first. I think personally, when I was like, I think when I was my masters, my lecturer, I think this course we took called it marketing, digital marketing in the global era. So like we're talking about cultural differences. That's one of the topics we're talking about that day. And in my class, in my department, I was the only black person there. And I think she was going on and on about something one day, and I don't know, and she made reference to like, I mean, I said, we said, one thing I love, she said that in like, one thing I love about Nigeria, and I said, I was like, what's my own? And I said, the jollof rice. I just love the jollof rice, and then I just love the jollof rice and this and I said, okay, and the next week I brought jollof rice for her, like. Like I just like I don't know because we just cooked some. I just took it to her like, and she was really really excited, really excited. And she called me and she was saying, "Oh, what is this meat? I like this. This what is this?" It was so funny and just like genuinely cute. So like that's what like no, she genuinely appreciated that part of our culture, and she's Brazilian.
mm-hmm,
So I just said, "Oh
mm-hmm,
yeah, she's Brazilian." So like she said, "Oh no, that Nigerian jollof." She really liked it, and I think I gave it to one of my friends, one of my colleagues, and the person was like, "That one." I think when she mentioned it, I said, "Yes, I hate it too. It's sweet." So it was like, it was like funny that day in class, like, and it was just a cool moment, and I was really proud, like I could actually. you know, engage her in that and, you know, just fulfill that and give her that jollof fries because she could not cook it.
Yeah,
I don't want to learn how to cook it.
obviously. Obviously.
I could
But she
not.
could learn sha, later, yeah.
I just cooked it. We just cooked like the next week, and I just got it for her, like, you know, just a small portion of it, and she was really appreciative. So so those are genuine appreciation that you know, can look like in practice. Have you guys encountered any appreciation that you can think of?
Hmm.
Or you guys are, I don't know, have you? Everybody in Nigeria appreciates our culture now.
So I wanna just, give a few examples, right? I don't know if Lola wants to speak or can I go?
Oh, please go ahead.
Okay. So I have an Indian boss, right?
Wow.
And then there are sometimes maybe we're having maybe end of the year party or something, and he can come to office or a Friday, he can come to the office wearing our, our, hey, I don't know whether it's Iran Buba. The guys wear Iran Buba. Guys don't wear Iran Buba now.
Baba.
It's ladies that wear Iran Buba.
Um,
Buba and Shokoto.
mm,
So he would wear that in our African print. He would just come to the office, and you see how people would, you know, smile at him. Some even want to take a picture with him because he's not doing it to maybe insult us or anything. He's just showing that, oh, I've been in Nigeria for a while and I value your culture and even down to your, dressing, right?
yeah,
And we appreciate it that, oh, nice, you're recognizing, us. He will even tell you, oh, I'm in Nigeria and I've been here for a while. We laugh about it. There was a time I was DJing somewhere, right? And there was this foreigner as well. We were dancing to Azonto. You know Azonto now. Azonto is, I think, is a Ghanaian dance, right?
yeah.
And then I was doing the dance, and he was looking at me, and he was emulating what I was doing. Although it was funny, but you could see that he just wanted to learn the dance because he liked it, right? So for me, in such scenarios, those are appreciative moments where people just look at your culture and know that, oh, I actually really
No,
like this, this
yeah.
culture. And
I think
I'm listening to you.
I always enjoy when the whites, like, you know, on Instagram you see these white people that appreciate African culture, and they try to, you know, even like, you know, like maybe the dance, the food, uh
Yeah,
the lifestyle, they try to live it, especially content creators that, you know, come all the way from London, from Russia, from wherever they are, and, you know,
yeah.
food delicacies, and it's always like kind of a good thing to, you know, see people appreciate the culture in such a way, which is a very good thing. I wanted to move on to
hmm
fine line debate now. You know, the pre-ultimate segment. You know, some people
I don't know if she has said anything or she would
I
like
want
to add to that.
something now. Don't worry.
Oh yeah, no, active, active, active,
Because
active.
so Lola, some people argue that cultural exchange is natural and inevitable. Where do you think the line should be drawn?
I didn't get that. Please, free.
Argue that cultural exchange is natural and inevitable. Where do you think the line should be drawn?
Well, it is.
Like, cultural exchange is, you know, is sure to happen
It
at some
is
point.
exactly.
Like that Yoruba people can marry white people. You know, there's some cultural exchange that, you know, is sure to happen. The world now is a global place where people can meet anybody and anytime, and someone can fall. But where do you think the line should be drawn? Is there a line that can be drawn?
Yeah,
And where do you think the line should be, if possible?
there are lines that could be drawn. Like I said earlier, cultural sharing, cultural exchange is a beautiful thing. It just makes us, learn about
Mm,
people's culture. But then the fine line is asking yourself, are you doing this for the profits, or you're actually doing it to understand the depth? Yeah.
yeah,
So
I think that's
that's
the question.
fine line. There is no other, oh, okay, we're doing this because of that. Are you doing it for the profits, or you're actually doing it for the love of it? And if you're doing it for the love of it, to understand, to learn, are you involving those people? Are you learning about that culture? That's the fine line that
Mm,
you're doing. I mean, it could be drawn, yeah. and then doing your research well. Get to meet people from that culture. Things are online now. You can go online, involve people from whatever culture it is.
Mm. Thank you. Diversity, you have anything to contribute about that?
I think she has really spoken about it. Research is very key. The fine line will be drawn when, for example, you try to represent a culture without at least knowing, or having an idea of what that culture represents. You can't just, for example, me now in terms of religious beliefs, in the olden days in Yoruba land, they
Mm.
have the way they worship their deities and everything. For example, we now watch a foreign movie and then they just carry that deity and put it somewhere and just have people do things anyhow to that. I think that's, more of like an appropriation situation, right?
Yeah.
But if that's where a fine line can actually be drawn when you don't actually represent, some of these cultures in the right way. You just
That-
want to show, sometimes maybe profit is not really a bad thing. People make profit off a lot of things. We sell shirts and trousers and they're from the Western world. We say that we're appropriating. We're appreciating the culture, we are doing it here, we're being westernized, all of that. So profit might not really always be a bad thing. Sometimes it's just the idea of, representing these cultures in the right way. But I also have like a question. I don't know if you mind. I
No,
just have a question. So I can ask Abby. All right. In terms of a fine line being drawn, right? What would you say about a scenario where a white person is winning Best African Album in a music award scenario,
best one.
or best African album, or best, you know, what would you say in that scenario?
Okay, I've not seen any white person that released an African album. But when I was when I was researching about this topic, I came across examples of cultural borrowing done right, appreciation, and Beyonce's Black is King album, that 2020 album, that she incorporated African traditions, fashion, music, and symbolism. She featured a lot of African artists from different countries,
Mm-hmm.
which was
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
she collaborated directly with African designers, stylists, artists, and creatives to authentically represent a wide range of African culture. So she did with Wizkid, she did with Shatawale, with Tiwa
Mm-hmm.
Savage, and a lot of people. She also credited and celebrated those cultures openly in projects, promotions, interviews, acknowledgements, and movies. She won a Grammy with them, with Wizkid. And so instead of just using cultural elements for artistic purposes, Beyonce highlighted African history. She portrayed the beauty of African culture. She empowered people through storytelling and partnership. And it was like that's the best example of what you are asking for a white person winning African album. I've not seen that happen before. I don't know. I'm not sure that happened. You're in the entertainment space, so I don't know. Has
No,
anybody won
I
African?
wanna I'm gonna speak more, but I want you to tell me, what do you think about it?
I will not
And
really.
be honest, be very honest.
If a white person won Africa best African album, I won't appreciate that at all. Why would I appreciate that? Why
Why?
I won't appreciate that at all. No, I don't think it's right. I don't think it's right.
Why?
Why would the white person portray our like a white person winning best Afrobeat? No, I'm not. You can't do better than us. We have lots of
So let me ask you a simple question. If Wizkid, right, should be nominated for Best R&B Song, is that a bad thing?
no. It's not a bad thing because
Why?
uh, how will I put it? Because Black Americans created R&B. The king of R&B
I
is
want.
R. Kelly, followed by this guy. No, a lot of followed by Usher. Then we have Friday now that is doing great. We have Chris Brown.
Okay, okay,
All Black
okay.
Americans.
Do you know Shabuzi? Shabuzi is like a
Is a
country
country.
singer, right? Thank you. You know he has Nigerian descent. If he's nominated for
And
best country music, is it a bad thing?
it's nominated for what?
Like best country song or best country music, is that a
Not a,
bad thing?
not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing at all.
Do you feel you're having double standards right now?
Yes, I feel so because I voted for standards.
Do you feel you're having double standards right now?
You voted me to have double standards because what?
You want us to win you are okay with us
No,
winning their categories, but
but
you have an issue with
I
them
want
winning your
to
category.
case for Beyonce and Shabozi because Beyonce actually won best country album in the Grammys, right? I think so. She did.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Yes, I think she did. Yes, yes.
Yeah, she did. So is that a bad thing? No, it's not.
It's not.
It's not.
Beyonce is like a universal art. Yeah.
Genre that we are fighting for is the Afrobeat genre, which I said nobody can come from America and come and win
This
Afro.
is the same way you feel when this is the same way the country people too will feel if someone like Shabuzi should win because he's not of their
Shabozi
descent.
started country music right from time. I'm not sure he appropriated himself.
But his descent is African. And
Yes,
that's what you are saying that a white man cannot win your category. Why? What if he was born here? What if he knows the culture? What if, let's even leave all that. What if he has studied the music to be able
I've
to
seen a
create it?
white man sing an African album. No, I said that at the
Do you
beginning.
know why? Do you know why I'm saying this? Because a white man or a white group, right? I think their name is Soja or something. They
Mm,
won best reggae album, right? And people, came out and they were like, "Oh, why? That normally is won by the Jamaicans. That's where the origin is from and all." I'm not saying I support or I don't support, but my own question is why did that controversy really come up? Is it that we are saying, oh, if people tend to appreciate your culture and try to study it and they cannot create something as beautiful as the original owners? Are you in the purpose of saying someone is appreciating something, does that mean it's appropriation? They
no.
might not be stealing from you. They might actually just be appreciating it.
Everybody's creative process is different. Anybody can sing anything or they want to sing. It's not my so far you're appreciating where you're actually appropriating it from. I have no beef with that. When
So a
Shabusi
white man can win Afrobeat, best Afrobeat.
when Shabusi sings a song, it's actually the appropriation is actually being appreciated because the songs are very good songs. Beyonce's album, country album, was one of the best albums that she has ever released. So
So why can't a white man win Afrobeat category?
gave the country genre the utmost respect of bringing out a very, very good project. Honestly,
Hmm.
there's no better way to appreciate something than giving it your best and using your utmost creative mind to bring out the best that is. And that's why people appreciated her winning the Grammys for the best country album. Nobody had a beef with that. I think where they had the beef was during the Country Music Awards that they didn't nominate her for anything at all. You understand? Because
Mm.
this is her was. She's not a country singer, which I understand. But in the Grammys is about every category. She released a country album. She has the right to be nominated in the country album category, and she won.
Bro, bro, I get what you are saying, but I need you to say it with your mouth. Can a white man win best Afrobeat category?
Anybody does. Let them sing it first. If they sing it, then we'll
Oh
give that.
yeah, no, no shaking,
Let
no
them
shaking, no
let
shaking.
the white man create an Afrobeat album. Then we'll know whether he really, really did his job well. You understand? And if Ed is nominating him for the best Afrobeat artist of the year and he wins it, I have no beef with that. Honestly, I will have no beef with that.
Fair
But
point, fair
but
point.
says there is of the utmost respect to the general of the music industry.
Yeah,
So Lola,
yeah.
this is our final question, just like a case study and real world impact, so that we can know, Um, are there brands or artists you admire for how they have engaged with other cultures respectfully?
I have none has actually stood out to me.
Who?
I said none has
None.
actually none. Aside the Beyonce
No brand.
case study you made.
No brand.
Brand
What do you say?
really? Or they just do it?
No artist. No, nobody that I've stood up. What did you say? I've stood out to you.
Nobody. Aside the
Hey,
Beyonce case study you mentioned, the others I
okay.
no.
Ah, maybe. Maybe you're not in the entertainment. Let me ask you, like, entertainment.
Exactly. I'm not in the entertainment space, so I wouldn't say no.
And they have depicted African culture well. I think so. I think so. I think so. Like I think the Gucci brand has done some, African collections. The Nike, Adidas too. Brands are always like in the
Yeah.
same question to you. Are there brands, artists that you admire for how they've engaged with other cultures respectfully?
Um, I would say I would now speak for music, right? Because I feel that's where I really play heavy
Mm,
in, right? For example, now I don't know if you've heard Burna Boy's recent song "Back to Life." Back to reality. You know that sample? I think it was gotten from a foreign babe song. It's not the person is. I don't think the person was Nigerian or anything, right?
really?
He just sampled that and then he put in, his own African twist to it,
Yeah.
and it's like that with a lot of even other music where we are I think Arasta's Gimme That was sampling Wyclef John and Mary J. Blige's 911.
Mm,
She just dropped that one as well. So there are a lot of songs that, sample different sounds from global, musicians, and then they just find a way to just put their own twist to it. And it works both ways because there was a song from one babe, she featured Quavo, and it had Haruna Ishola's intro. Iṣẹ́ Olúwa kò sẹ́ni tó yé, Iṣẹ́ Olúwa jù bàbá lọ. And they put like a nice twist to it featuring Quavo. I
who is
don't know
that?
I forgot the name of the song. I forgot the name of the song. If I find it, I will send it to you. And
Thanks.
I think she's even Latino self. So you
Wow.
see how that was a different truth. And
Mm,
and when they spoke about when Nigerians came up about, they were like, oh, they've actually paid respect to the original artist family, all of that. And I love that. Everybody is happy,
yeah.
and that sound is going is even going more international. Let's put it like that. Because she
Right.
might take it to a different market. There might even be Nigerians there that will hear that song and be like, oh wow, this is amazing, this is nice. So I think we should not just be
Mm,
limited in our thinking. We should also understand that appreciation can work in many ways. And
yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
we should just enjoy it really.
Yeah. I agree with you. Thank you so much. I think we've come to the end of today's podcast. I want to really appreciate you guys, honestly. Just so that we know, just for me to just recap everything that we so um as we come to today's end podcast or conversation, one thing is clear: culture is not just fashion. It is music, it is art, it is history. Like I said before, it is identity and resilience. Whether we're talking about African text culture being paraded by Western rules without credit, or African um, American music being mainstreamed without acknowledging its roots, the story remains the same. When we strip away the people behind the culture, we strip away the soul of that culture itself. Appreciation requires more than admiration. It requires respect. It requires education, acknowledgement, and collaboration. It means supporting original creators, honoring the significance behind traditions we love, and making sure that those cultures inspire the world, and recognize that yes, the people that created this are rewarded and recognized. Cultural exchange can be beautiful. It can build bridges. It can open minds. It can create powerful new stories. But that can only happen when it is rooted in respect, not exploitation. So I want to thank Lola and Diversity for coming here today. I want to thank you guys for, taking our time out of your busy schedule to come. I really appreciate you. Lola, I'm sure I'll be inviting you again. Diversity is always welcome anytime, you guys.
Pleasure, man. Pleasure, pleasure.
Um, Thank you guys once again for subscribing. We want you to subscribe, share, watch, engage our content. We need a lot of subscriptions and engagements, please.
Yeah.
So till next week before we see you guys again. Thank you so much. Bye.
I really like this conversation. So, yeah, really nice.
Bye. Thank you.